Blade is a cool character. Spider-Man is a cool character. Games based on cool characters are pretty cool in general. But you know what's not cool? Console warring with games that don't actually exist yet because you're so bored that you couldn't be bothered to actually play some video games on the system that you simp for and would rather run interference for the exclusivity of characters that these publishers did not create because you get some kind of personal meaning from participating in a completely anti-consumer practice and haven't mentally progressed beyond the 4th grader on the playground bragging about a plastic box that their stepdad bought them for Christmas. So anyways, Blade. Microsoft formally announced their Blade game at the Game Awards and confirmed that it was in development at Arcane Studios, and before you ask, the good Arcane Studios. Given the fact that Sony has been doing their best to establish some kind of stranglehold on the good Marvel games over the last decade, it didn't take long for the PlayStation diehards to start trying to act like this was somehow an automatic loss for Microsoft, or that there was something somehow evil or wrong or like inherently bad about Microsoft quite literally doing the same thing that Sony has been doing with other Marvel characters, but oh well. I mean, the Blade game hasn't even been confirmed to be Xbox exclusive at the time that I'm making this video, but whatever, you guys just keep doing the good old, oh, it's okay when Sony does it routine. But at the same time, the Xbox dudes are spending a lot of time hyping up the comparative quality of a game that literally doesn't exist yet, and it's not like that's any less cringe than just trying to run interference for Sony. Like, I totally get being excited for a game that was just announced, but comparing its quality to the Spider-Man games is dumb, and comparing its quality to the Wolverine game is extra dumb, and if you can't understand why those comparisons are dumb, then why don't you just come along on this adventure with me, because boy, do we have a lot to talk about today now, don't we? Before we get started, quick little plugs for myself. 4D Gaming, if you want a nice mouse pad, use code Joe for a discount at 4D Gaming. They're really nice mouse pads. Also, if you want a good G Fuel alternative, use Glitch and use code Joe for a discount there too. It's really nice. I like it. And yeah, let's just get started. Arthur says, okay, but do Blade fans think that Sony fans really care enough about Blade to make these comparisons? He is not Spider-Man level. Today I learned a superhero game can only be good if the superhero is on the same level of fame as Spider-Man. Except no, that's actually really stupid, and I shouldn't have to explain why that's stupid. I mean, I remember a time when literally no one knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, but now Star-Lord hosts daily dance parties at Disneyland, so it'd be great if we dropped this stupid idea that the only way a superhero product could be good is if absolutely everyone knows who they are already. Nick says, now why would you put Blade on a stupid-ass Xbox when PS5 has been the go-to for Marvel games? Except no, it hasn't. PS5 has been the place for Spider-Man games, sure, but literally every other Marvel game is multi-platform. Except for Wolverine, I guess, but that game's not out yet. I mean, does no one remember the Guardians of the Galaxy game from a few years ago? Or Midnight Suns from this year, which was apparently really good. And that's also glossing over the fact that Insomniac's Spider-Man games are on PC too, so really if you want the platform with the most Marvel games, it's the PC. And if you don't really care about Spider-Man, it's not like the PlayStation offers you anything more Marvel related than other platforms do, but you know, example 5 million of PlayStation dudes thinking they're the center of the industry basically just because they have the loudest megaphone. Who, the PS5 is the go-to place for Marvel games. Well, don't you mean the place for Spider-Man games? No, Spider-Man is Marvel, PS5 is the Marvel place. Also, I can't help but point out that PS5 being the supposed go-to place for Marvel games isn't really a reason for Marvel games not to be elsewhere. You know, like just because some Marvel games are PlayStation exclusive doesn't mean everything needs to be, right? Clarence W. posts a picture of Blade with the Xbox logo, and then Ontelt responds, that is pure cringe. No one gives a fuck about Blade. Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine solos shitty Blade. I love the thing fanboys do, where one of them will do something admittedly cringe, but then the response to the cringe thing will be something equally cringe. Like, yeah, making a piece of art to boast about an Xbox exclusive based on a character that Xbox didn't make, that's pretty cringe. But not to be out-cringed is the PlayStation dude saying no one gives a fuck about one of the most beloved Marvel characters. But also, you forgot how to speak English here because you say Blade gets soloed by 2 different things. That is literally not what solo means. How did you type this? This Ontelt dude was fucking riled up, because in a different response he says, Blade is so shit compared to Spider-Man and Wolverine, but you Xbox warriors force yourselves to like it because you clowns aren't getting Spider-Man or Wolverine. So, the Blade game that isn't out yet is shit compared to the Wolverine game that isn't out yet. And you're calling other people cringe. Also, if you genuinely think the only people excited for Blade are Xbox fans jealous about Spider-Man and Wolverine, like, is it impossible for people to just be excited about a big budget Blade game. Like, I shit you not when I say when I was in 2nd grade arguing with my friends on the playground about which superhero was the best, we had better arguments than this. Iron Fist says, why do Xbots want us ponies to be mad about Marvel's Blade possible being exclusive? If it is exclusive, good for you guys, but we know who really mad out in these gaming streets about a certain and most definitely a PS5 exclusive with no doubt. Did you just unironically use the phrase out in these gaming streets? I don't feel like anything I come up with is going to be as effective as just putting a big arrow on that part. Out in these fucking gaming streets, bro. Take this app less seriously. Oh my god. Can't Keep Me Down says, another upcoming flop of a game. Stand by for disappointment and bots not holding Xbox accountable, as usual. I really don't know where this idea comes from that Xbox fans don't hold Microsoft accountable for shitty exclusives, because last time I checked, when Microsoft puts out a shitty exclusive, it fails. Crossfire X was a failure. Redfall was a failure. Even the now good Microsoft exclusives like Sea of Thieves or Halo Infinite, they were complete failures until they put in the work and made them better. If anything, I think that proves Xbox players generally do hold Microsoft accountable. There's always going to be the really loud fanboys, just like there's always going to be the really loud fanboys of PlayStation, but the numbers don't lie, you know? The whole reason why the Xbox brand got in such a shitty hole over the last decade was because they were held accountable, you know? If Microsoft wasn't held accountable for the shitty Xbox One era and all the shitty first-party games, they wouldn't have had to make their first-party games and business model better. They wouldn't have had to completely change management, and Phil Spencer wouldn't have had to come in and basically restructure everything. If they weren't held accountable, they would have kept making money and just kept chugging along with all their garbage exclusives during the Xbone era, and those games that I listed 30 seconds ago would have been big successes. But that obviously isn't what happened. Also, isn't Blade one of the most talked about Marvel characters right about now? Like, shouldn't that be enough to assure you that this won't be a flop? Like, I don't know what's dumber, you calling this game a flop based on literally nothing, or you acting like Xbox fans don't hold Microsoft accountable when there's literally a laundry list of shit Microsoft exclusives that were held accountable for their shittiness. The Xbox Victim Support Group says Microsoft only announced Blade so soon so they could scream, "Me too!" They are trying to replicate the PS4 success. Yakuza marketing, Persona marketing, Kojima deal, Marvel deal, Square Enix relationship. They have no ideas of their own, clearly. So, just so we're clear, making third-party deals is bad because Sony did it first. But, like, Sony didn't even do it first. You really think the PS4 era of Sony is where the idea of third-party platform exclusivity was born? Because if so, then yikes, you haven't been gaming very long, evidently so. But also, yes, if a company does something that makes money, their competitors are going to do a similar or identical thing. That's how this works. And because apparently I have to state the obvious here, you can't use third-party exclusivity or third-party marketing deals as an inherent W for one company, but a point of criticism for the other. That's fucking stupid. Your username is Xbox Victim Support Group, and you clearly don't have an issue with the idea of doing third-party deals, but now when Xbox is doing the exact same thing that Sony's been doing for like a decade, suddenly it's a point of criticism. Even though, like I said, Sony wasn't even the first to do this. Also, extra lol at the fact that you say Xbox is trying to replicate the PS4's success. You know, Sony has released a console since the PS4, but I can't help but notice you chose not to mention that one. Just kind of funny. Moving on, let's get to the other side of the fence here. Boss Sean says, "This is absurd. This PlayStation fanboy pony is begging Phil Spencer on vacation to bring Blade to PS5. Mind blown. Okay, look, you weird PS fanboys. Listen closely. Xbox has more games, studios, and better services. Xbox is better than PS5. Stop crying and just buy one. Hashtag Xbox. I really don't get why Twitter fanboys type like this. It doesn't make you sound smart. It's just annoying to put in screenshots." Like, any intelligent or like super S-tier point you were trying to make is drowned out by you doing the corporate slave version of a green text in the slim hope that Phil Spencer will see you and give you a high five or something. It's so fucking dumb. In the time that it took you to type this out the way you did, you could have just gone and played a game. You could have just gone and played like Binding of Isaac or Brotato or something. But no, you did this instead. Magomed says, I'd rather have Dishonored 3 announced as an Xbox exclusive than have Blade announced as a cross-plat on PS5. When Xbox acquired Arcane, I thought they could at least revive Dishonored, but all they've done is hold it hostage and mismanage studios. You'd rather have an exclusive sequel than a new multiplat. And the exclusive sequel that you're asking for would be part of a multiplat franchise. So instead of a multiplat Blade game, you want to make Dishonored's third entry an exclusive and take it away from a bunch of people who were engaged in the series. I can't be the only one who just hears that as bitter as fuck. Because you're implying that the value of a game is somehow lessened by it being a multi-platform. Nobody was talking about an Xbox exclusive Dishonored 3, but that's where your brain went after you heard that Blade might be on the PlayStation. And sure, maybe I'm reading too far into this one, but it's just a weird mental jump to make if you're not looking at the situation through the lens of a complete console warrior, you know? Like, Blade gets announced by Xbox, it's unclear if it's multi-platform, and in response to that, you're like, man, I wish this was a completely different game, and I wish that completely different game was Xbox exclusive. Like really? That's where we're at now? Hyped says, PlayStation gamers eating good, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and now Blade. PS5 is the only platform with all three of these. So you agree that gaming platforms having access to as many games as possible is a good thing? Interesting. Remember to keep this energy next time a PlayStation exclusive is announced. CS21 says Redfall 2.0. Yeah, a lot of people can't fucking read and thought that Arcane made Redfall, which, like, no, they didn't. At least not the division of Arcane making Blade. Here's another one. Jason Shamblin, from the team that also made Redfall. I'll wait for the launch reviews, hope it's good, and then he got fucking community noted. Like, I get being skeptical of anything with Arcane's name on it after Redfall. Genuinely, I understand that. But this just isn't a good use of that argument, you know? Redfall was the B team of the B team and was riddled with leadership issues from the start. Blade is not going to be the same situation. It's a single-player game by Arcane proper, so dismissing it because of a lame live service co-op shooter made by the Arcane Z team is just really weak sauce. Like, by all means, be skeptical of the game you haven't seen yet, but at least be skeptical in ways that make sense. Unless you're also prepared to dismiss every future Sony exclusive because they also funded the Order 1886 that one time, you know? Nobody's writing off From Software because they made Steel Battalion for the Kinect. Nobody's perfect. And yes, FromSoft actually made that Steel Battalion Kinect game. You're welcome for reminding you. One last one. Technoblast says hashtag Arcane Studios, hashtag Xbox plus hashtag Blade equals epic and very fitting. Hashtag Xbox fans equal happy face. Hashtag PS5 fans equal cry face, swear face. Hashtag the Game Awards.
As a matter of fact, I'm starting to think we need to intervene on you for your goddamn illiteracy.
Yeah, Charlie, you are getting real dumb.
Come on, all right, see, this is what I'm talking about, illiteracy. You know, what does that word even mean? Come on.
It's always fun when games get announced and I'm just over here on the PC watching everything catch on fire and poking fun at people. Like, we can agree that console exclusivity is lame, especially when it's a game based on a character that the console maker had no hand in. Like, there's no creative reason why Xbox should have exclusivity to Blade, the same way that there's no creative reason that PlayStation should have exclusivity to Spider-Man and Wolverine. They paid for it, that's it. But good golly, preemptively judging a game based on, like, a 30-second cinematic? Like, fuck, dude. Is this really how slow things are? I mean, if anything, I appreciate you guys giving me something to talk about. So yeah, thank you guys for the support on the channel recently. It's been bananas the last week, and we're just gonna keep this chugging into next year. So by all means, if you want to be stupid on Twitter, keep being stupid on Twitter, and I will keep making videos. And if you don't want to be stupid on Twitter, you can come watch the videos of people being stupid on Twitter. Whew, I'm out of breath. Toodles.